Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's EBC video. We're in Boston, Massachusetts, thinking about Matthew 9 through 13 this week. It's the calling of Matthew, the tax collector. So what are we doing in Boston besides work? We're in Boston thinking about the Revolutionary War. There's lots of famous sites, and we happen to be at the Boston National Historical Park, and behind me is the Museum for the USS Constitution. Of course, there's a lot of other things in Boston as well. The Boston Massacre was in Boston. The Boston Tea Party was in Boston. And Boston Tea Party was about taxes. And so maybe we'll be looking to see whether Jesus was throwing any of the tea overboard in what he was doing. So when Jesus finds Matthew, Jesus finds him in a tax collection booth doing his job. And Jesus says to Matthew, "Come and follow me." And Matthew does, no questions asked. But then the scene changes, and Matthew is actually having dinner with his friends and Jesus and the disciples. And now Matthew's friends, as he was a tax collector, are going to be some of those same tax collecting, sinning folks. And the Pharisees are around, and the Pharisees are around doing what Pharisees do, which is asking questions. Why is Jesus having dinner with these sinners and tax collectors? Jesus has a fantastic answer for this, and we'll get back to that in just a moment. But I want to focus first on what we see in the Pharisees is that temptation to judge, that temptation to separate, right? And look, I mean, in history, the loyalists were labeling patriots because of what they were doing, and the patriots were labeling loyalists because of what they were doing. And it's very natural for us now, because we know how history turned out, we know which side we're on, to think that there was a right side and a wrong side to that. But you know, Jesus in Matthew 9 is emphasizing doing something else. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times when Jesus is a revolutionary here, right? And sometimes, like in Matthew 21, when he overturns the tables of the money changers at the temple, it's very clear that Jesus is making change in a dramatic way. In this instance, Jesus is making change. He's making revolution, but in a more subtle way, by saying, look, I'm going to pull these people to me. He's saying, look, my revolution today is to grab someone like Matthew, who's a tax collector, and bring him to me. My revolution is to have Matthew, who's that tax collector, and when he's come to Jesus, instead of saying, now I'm with Jesus, I'm not with these other people, he's still having dinner with everyone else and celebrating with everyone else and introducing them to Jesus. So as we're thinking about then what the tax collectors asked, Jesus has two answers to that. And the first one is, Jesus says, look, I came for the sick. I didn't come for the healthy. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But what he really means is I came for the sinners, right? He's emphasizing to the Pharisees, I didn't come, Pharisees, to make you feel good about yourselves. I came to help the people who need me because they are sinners and because they recognize they're sinners. And of course, everyone's a sinner, so Jesus came for everyone. Now, the other thing that Jesus said was that he desires mercy, not sacrifice, right? That's also a message to the Pharisees and a message to us that Jesus isn't looking for us to be necessarily rule followers, right? He's looking for us to show that mercy. He's looking for us to do what Matthew did, which is both follow Jesus and then pull other people close to him while he's following Jesus. So there is a revolution that can happen, but the revolution is in finding your heart and finding that mercy in your heart for kindness. So this week, as you're going about your week, do look for a chance to have a little mini revolution, but it's not a revolution where you're separating from people. Let's have a revolution this week where you're pulling somebody close to you. Have a great week, everybody.